For the second time in as many days, U.S. President Barack Obama told the American public his administration is dealing with what it calls an unsuccessful act of terror.
When our government has information on a known extremist, and that information is not shared and acted upon as it should have been, so that this extremist boards a plane with dangerous explosives that could have cost nearly 300 lives, a systemic failure has occurred.
Republicans say the administration is taking the threat from the Flight 253 incident much too lightly.
I do have concerns, though, that, for instance, he spoke about this being an isolated extremist when it's not. He's an Islamic terrorist who's part of an international movement. Whether or not he's an actual member of al-Qaeda, I don't think it's accurate to say he's an isolated extremist.
But the attempted bombing, in which Umar Farouk Abdul-Muttalib is alleged to have hidden explosives in his underwear, could create a bigger problem for the Obama administration. Notably, will it further complicate the administration's already much delayed plans to close the prison at Guantanamo Bay, where half the remaining 198 detainees are from Yemen, many of whom the White House hopes to repatriate? Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, or AQAP, based in Yemen, has taken credit for the botched bombing on Christmas Day, calling it retaliation for U.S. involvement in the country. That's raising new alarms among critics, who point to the case of two detainees who were released from Guantanamo in 2007, only to eventually turn up in Yemen, both as al-Qaeda members. There's no proof, though, that these men are linked to Abdul-Muttalib, but the government's fragility has given observers pause. At any rate, the Obama administration maintains Guantanamo must close. The detention facility at Guantanamo has been used by al-Qaeda as a rallying cry and recruiting tool, including its affiliate, al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. As our military leaders have recognized, closing the detention facility at Guantanamo is a national security imperative. The administration, though, is worried about Yemen's potential to become a new haven for al-Qaeda.
In Yemen, we have witnessed the reemergence of al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, and the possibility that that will become a base of operations for al-Qaeda.
That concern has recently taken the shape of billions of dollars in direct military aid and direct U.S. military intervention. The U.S. provided air power and intelligence to Yemen in two recent raids on suspected al-Qaeda sites in the country. Now, as the focus in Washington shifts from the suspected bomber to the country suspected as the source of his support, the White House may find any policy that pivots on the question of Yemen more difficult, including its pledge to close Guantanamo Bay. Rosiland, Al Jazeera, Washington.